Good morning, everybody, and thanks for joining us today. You have joined today's online training, which is Getting Started as a Health, Wellness, and Safety Liaison on your PTA, and it's brought to you by the Colorado PTA Health, Wellness, and Safety Committee and Action for Healthy Kids. We are going to give folks just another minute or so to join us, so just sit tight. We're expecting a few more people to hop on the line in just a minute or so. All right, everybody. For those of you just joining us, you have joined our today's online training, which is Getting Started as a Health, Wellness, and Safety Liaison on your PTA. And we're very excited to be here today. We're Colorado PTA Health, Wellness, and Safety Committee and Action for Healthy Kids. So I'd like to review some logistics before we get started. You should see a control panel, usually on the right side of your screen. And you can use your telephone or speakers to listen to the presentation, but everybody will be muted to avoid static and background interference. You'll also see a dialog box there at the bottom of the control panel with a red arrow pointing to that. Please feel free to type questions into that box as we're going along. We should be able to get your questions answered during the presentation at the end, but if not, we can follow up with you via email afterwards. Those questions are all saved, and we will know what we get answered and what we still need to answer at the end. This webinar training is being recorded. Links to the recording, the slides, and the resources that we're going to share with you will be sent to you 2 to 3 business days after the webinar. So who are we? Who do you have presenting today? My name's Carol Muller. I am the State Director of Action for Healthy Kids in Colorado. Our team works with schools and districts and other partners in Colorado to implement policies and practices that are designed to improve nutrition and increase physical activity in schools, and to engage parents and family members in those efforts in particular. I have 2 kids that are in college now, but for many years I worked on school wellness projects in Littleton Public Schools, and I served on the district level committee there. Also co-presenting with me today is Erin Kobler. She's our wellness project coordinator. After many years working on family engagement for Denver Public Schools, Erin joined our partnership team a couple years ago to work with schools in our Wellness Kit program and to provide communications support around health and wellness to Colorado PTA. Erin has 2 young children just getting started in Denver Public Schools. Also joining us is Dr. Lori Odom. She is the Chair of Health and Wellness for Jeffco Council PTA and the co-chair of Health, Wellness, and Safety for Colorado PTA. As a mother and grandmother, and after a challenging and rewarding 37-year career as a pediatric oncologist, Lori retired to pursue a second passion, advocacy for the well-being of children and adolescents. And from what I know of Lori, this seems to be hardly a retirement. She is everywhere working on this issue, and we're so glad to have her on this team. Erin and I are also members of that state-level Health, Wellness, and Safety Committee that Lori chairs. We have another special guest joining us later in the hour, Palace Quist from Samuels Elementary, and we will introduce her, tell you guys a little bit more about her later. So who is Action for Healthy Kids? Well, we have been a very close partner of Colorado PTA for many years. We are a national nonprofit that was created in 2002 by the Surgeon General to combat childhood obesity, undernourishment, and physical inactivity, specifically by helping schools become healthier places. And our focus areas are improving school nutrition in all across the school and increasing physical activity. We offer free programs, educational resources, and grants to schools to expand breakfast programs and to implement other nutrition and physical activity initiatives. So Action for Healthy Kids and the Colorado PTA Health, Wellness, and Safety Committee are currently funded together by the Colorado Health Foundation to work together to offer health and wellness training events, programs, and resources to PTA members across the state. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to Lori, and she can tell you a little bit more about our state level Health, Wellness, and Safety Committee. Take it away, Lori.
Thank you, Carol. The Health, Wellness, and Safety Committee of Colorado PTA was formally established in 2014. This required a vote by the Board of Directors in February to amend the bylaws, followed by a formal vote to approve the amendment at the 93rd Annual Colorado PTA Convention that was held in April of 2014. Similar to the goals of the National PTA Health and Safety Committee, the Colorado PTA Health, Wellness, and Safety Committee is committed to establishing, nurturing, and supporting healthy students, families, and communities. It's important for the committee to provide parents, teachers, students, and communities with the tools, resources, and training needed to advocate for and build healthy and safe school environments. Working closely with Carol and her talented team at Action for Healthy Kids is really what makes it possible to fulfill these purposes. Additionally, we encourage every PTA unit to designate a health, wellness, and safety liaison. We believe that coordinating with the liaison position at each PTA is the most effective way to bring tools and resources to the schools and to encourage PTA members to attend outreach events and the trainings. You may be wondering about how to add a health, wellness, and safety liaison to your local PTA. It's really very simple. At your next regular PTA board meeting, a member says, quote, "I move to create a health, wellness, and safety liaison position," unquote. Another person seconds the motion. If a majority of the PTA members present at the meeting approve this motion, you have a health, wellness, and safety liaison position. The president then appoints a member to be the health, wellness, and safety liaison, a subject that has to then be approved by the board. And if your PTA has standing rules, they can be amended by your PTA's membership to reflect the board's action to add the liaison position. Erin will be discussing more details about this position shortly. The websites of both Colorado PTA, which is copta.org, and National PTA, which is pta.org, have multiple helpful resources. Since its inception, our Colorado PTA Health, Wellness, and Safety Committee has created 64 referenced parent information sheets on a variety of pertinent topics, such as healthy school foods, smart snacks, childhood obesity, bullying, cyberbullying, digital safety, disaster preparedness, e-cigarettes and vaping, effect of marijuana on adolescents, to name a few of these topics. All of these information sheets can be downloaded from the Health, Wellness, and Safety Program section of the copta.org website. Our committee also hosts several health, wellness, and safety related workshops at the annual PTA convention in April of each year. At the direction of the Colorado PTA Board of Directors, a suicide prevention task force was initiated in November of 2015. Because of the need for ongoing work in this area, it became a subcommittee of the Health, Wellness, and Safety Committee in September of 2016. 13 of the parent information sheets I mentioned earlier are actually related to suicide prevention. The Health, Wellness, and Safety Committee is tasked with a variety of responsibilities. We welcome your input and suggestions about issues you would like us to address and invite all PTA members, especially the Health, Wellness, and Safety liaisons, to participate in our meetings. These meetings are held on the third Tuesday of the month, 12 to 2 p.m., except April, which is the convention month, and December because of the holidays. A call-in option is available, and again, we welcome your participation in the meetings either in person or remotely. And now, Carol, I'll turn the webinar back to you.
Thanks so much, Lori. Lots of great information. So what are we going to talk about today? First, we're going to talk about why creating a healthy school culture is so important and why your PTA should get involved. You know, what is a health, wellness, and safety liaison, and why should your PTA designate someone for the position? And then who should you designate? Then we'll spend really the bulk of our time talking about what health, wellness, and safety liaison does at different involvement levels and how to get started at any level. And at the end, we'll share lots of resources to help you get started. So first, let's start with some facts. Why is a healthy school culture so important? As you can see on the screen, even though Colorado is the leanest state in the country, according to national statistics, nearly 6 in 10 adults are overweight or obese, and the prevalence of adult obesity in Colorado has doubled over the last 20 years. Nearly 1 in 5 high school students and more than 1 in 4 Colorado children are overweight or obese. Together, that is 270,000 students. And across America, 30 to 40% of children and adolescents eat fast food on any given day. Kids spend more than 7.5 hours in front of a screen, and that doesn't include school purposes. They view more than 40,000 commercials each year on TV, and 87% of the food and beverages that they see are for unhealthy foods. And only 1 in 3 children are physically active every day. So those are some pretty startling statistics, and that things to keep in mind as talking points. So why should your PTA, though, in particular, get involved in this issue? What are the benefits to your students and your families? Well, a healthy school culture is going to support classroom lessons. It's going to reflect curriculum standards for health instead of conflicting with them. Healthy school culture publicly demonstrates the school's commitment to promoting healthy behaviors among its students, families, and staff. And it sends the message that health is a top priority. And it really can create excitement about nutrition and physical activity for your students. When healthy behaviors are presented in a fun and engaging way, kids are really more eager to get involved. A healthy school culture also promotes a safe and positive social emotional climate for your kids. But most importantly, a healthy school culture helps kids learn better, which is the mission of your school. Now, the evidence is piling up everywhere that good nutrition, physical activity, and a positive climate increase student achievement. And we'll talk more about that in a bit. Now I'm going to turn it over to Erin, who's going to talk about how your PTA can support this healthier school culture. Take it away, Erin.
Sure, thanks, Carol. So for starters, the Health, Wellness, and Safety Committee recommends that all PTAs designate a Health, Wellness, and Safety Liaison along with their other officer positions. This helps to build infrastructure for health, wellness, and safety in PTA units, but at a flexible level to meet the needs of your particular unit. So if the person in this position is responsible for serving as a liaison between PTA members and the school's wellness team, if there is one, and the district wellness coordinator, if there is one. The goal here is that PTA is aware of health, wellness, and safety efforts that are going on in the school in the district already, and the liaison is serving as an information source between PTA members and those efforts. So that might be the only role, to serve as a connector, especially for those schools with fewer PTA members and officers. On the other end, the liaison might have an interest and the capacity to lead school wellness initiatives. Ideally, these are done with a full understanding of any other health, wellness, and safety efforts already going on in your school and district. You can appoint a health, wellness, and safety liaison at any time during the school year through Member Planet. Lori already mentioned what you would need to go through at your meeting to designate that person, but then you can assign that person through Member Planet. And if you have any questions about how to do so and how to add this person to your officers list, you can contact the Colorado PTA office. So what are the benefits of designating this position on your officers list? For one, your PTA will be better informed about any school or district health and wellness opportunities or grants that might be available. Having someone in this position will also help you align your PTA initiatives with school and district initiatives. Having a point person for health, wellness, and safety might help you draw in new members who are already passionate about children's health. And most importantly, it will help that it will ensure that your PTA has a voice in school health and wellness efforts that are going on in your school. So who should you designate, and who might be qualified to serve in this role? Really, anyone can serve in this role as long as they're willing to educate themselves a bit about health, wellness, and safety in their school and district. And here's some suggestions of who that person could be. You might consider appointing a PTA member who already has a strong interest in health, wellness, and safety issues. Or you could try using this position as a way to get another parent at your school involved on your PTA. You could find a parent wellness champion who has no previous PTA involvement and invite them to join. It also doesn't have to be a parent. A school staff or community member working on health, wellness, and safety issues can easily fill this role. And again, it's a good opportunity to get them involved with your PTA unit. Maybe you don't have a school wellness champion in your school or on staff. Really, any PTA member who's willing to do a little research on health, wellness, and safety efforts and to serve as that channel for information and resources can fill this role. And so what does the health, wellness, and safety liaison do? Well, even if your PTA has very limited time and resources to put into this position or health and wellness in general, your health, wellness, and safety liaison can serve an important role. As a champion for health, wellness, and safety within PTA and your school community, he or she can build awareness about the connection between health and learning in your school community and the best practices related to health, wellness, and safety. He or she can also encourage PTA and your school to consider health, wellness, and safety when you're planning initiatives. So for example, will a particular initiative promote healthy living, or is it going to do the opposite? Your liaison should serve as the PTA point person for health, wellness, and safety initiatives that are happening in your school and in your district. So he or she needs to understand what's going on in school or district related to health, wellness, and safety and communicate these efforts to PTA leaders and members. They can connect interested parents and families to health, wellness, and safety efforts and resources that they might be interested in or that they might really need. And they can serve as a go-between from the PTA to the school health team if you have one, or the district wellness team if you have one. So at this level, the most important thing to do is just to educate yourself. It's the starting point for the health, wellness, and safety liaison at any level. So first, what does the research say about the connection between health and learning? You'll need to know this to be a champion for healthy schools. So educate yourself about the research and consider creating some talking points. So here's what you need to know for starters. Students with a higher quality diet are found to be on task more often and have higher test scores and attendance rates. And on the other end, studies have shown that students with low nutrient intake are more likely to be absent, experience behavioral trouble at school, and get poorer grades. And then how many kids actually eat a healthy breakfast before school starts? Many kids don't eat breakfast at all, and if they're hungry, they're not going to go into their classrooms ready to learn. And look what physical activity does for the brain. It increases learning ability, attentiveness, and students' level of engagement, and it also decreases behavioral issues and absenteeism. Take a look at these brain scans on your screen. You can see that there's a lot more activity in the brain happening after 20 minutes of walking versus 20 minutes of sitting quietly. When it comes to social, emotional, and mental health issues, students who experience symptoms of depression, anxiety, or substance abuse are more likely to report trouble concentrating in class and completing homework, and are more likely to drop out of high school. Whereas students who receive instruction related to social and emotional learning have higher academic achievement scores. You'll see here a few excellent resources that we have on the learning connections from Action for Healthy Kids, from the Colorado Education Initiative, and from Gen Youth Foundation. We'll send you these slides with the web links after this webinar. So next you need to know what makes up a healthy school culture. And I'm going to turn it back to Carol to talk about some of the things considered to be best practices and focus areas for healthy schools.
Thank you, Erin. So focus area number one related to health and wellness is creating a healthy school food culture. And that it can include a wide variety of things: healthy school meal programs, healthy fundraisers and food sales, healthy celebrations, and family events. Food rewards are not recommended at all. Non-food rewards are considered a best practice. Also, you know, did your school have access to clean drinking water? Nutrition education and promotion and hunger support also would fall into the healthy school food culture area. Focus number 2, increasing physical activity at school, adding more movement to the school day. And this is through quality PE programs, physical activity in the classroom, and better recess programs. It includes before and after school programs, you know, those activity clubs that may have some physical activity attached to them. Walk and bike to school programs are also included here. And then, of course, active celebrations, active rewards, and family events are areas where PTAs can really make a difference fairly quickly. So you can learn a lot more about these focus areas in the resources that we're going to share later, in particular, the parentsforhealthykids.org website and the Action for Healthy Kids website. A third focus area would be your school's social emotional climate and any behavioral health initiatives that are going on. And that could include positive behavior supports, social emotional learning opportunities, creating a safe and welcoming learning environment, any anti-bullying initiatives, mental health awareness and intervention programs, and crisis preparedness. Now, this third area is not a focus area for Action for Healthy Kids. The Colorado PTA has lots of related information on their site. In those info sheets, for example, that Lori mentioned earlier. And the Colorado School Safety Resource Center is also a great place to learn more, and we'll give you their address at the end of the presentation. So once you have a basic understanding of what school health, wellness, and safety means, it's time to find out what your school and district are doing to address it. First, find out if your school has an official school health team or wellness committee, or perhaps there are other committees or individual groups working on individual initiatives. For example, maybe there's a garden club. Maybe there's a walk and bike to school effort going on. Could be there's a group of parents or even school staff working to make snacks healthier. Or maybe there's some recess initiatives. What about in your cafeteria? Is there a move happening towards less processed foods or scratch cooking? And if any of these things are going on, is your PTA already participating or supporting these in any way? And then how about your principal? How does your principal feel about health, wellness, and safety initiatives in general? Positive, interested in learning more, or not necessarily? You just need to understand what's happening in your school. And how do you find this information? Well, ask your principal, you know, talk to your PE teacher and your cafeteria manager. Find out who's working on what, and are they tied together in any way? If you do have a school wellness committee, talk to the leaders. Do they have any parents on the committee? And if not, why not? That's a really important place for parents to have a voice. So then what's going on at the district level related to health, wellness, and safety? Who's the point person for these issues in your district? What is your district wellness policy? And is there a plan in place to put that policy into action? All school districts are required to have a district wellness policy, so it is there somewhere. Is your district working on any health, wellness, and safety initiatives, and does it receive funding for any efforts from nonprofits, foundations, or community partners? If it is receiving funding, is your school tied into any of those efforts? And how can your PTA support or participate these existing initiatives? So to learn more, visit your district website for starters. If you can't find a staff or department listed for school health and wellness, do a search. I recommend you look in nutrition services or your food service department. Oftentimes your district wellness policy will be housed in that area. The nutrition services department is generally charged with making sure that the district wellness policy meets the federal requirements and is up to speed. And somebody does have to be the designated point person for the policy. So you'll want to contact them to learn about what's going on in your district if it's not immediately evident from a conversation you have or from the website. All right, turn it back over to Erin to talk about the Health, Wellness, and Safety Liaison position at some additional levels.
So as we mentioned before, anyone who takes on the health, wellness, and safety liaison position should take the time to educate themselves a bit. But if you want to and you have the capacity to do more than just serve as a connector, if you have a little more time and the interest from parents and volunteers to make it happen, here's some ideas of what you can do. You might consider working with the fundraising committee or the school staff to coordinate a healthy fundraiser or more than one healthy fundraiser. You can bring in a health, wellness, and safety related speaker for parent or family education nights. And if you have a school wellness committee, you can work with them to actively support their health, wellness, and safety efforts. So maybe PTA can provide volunteers for something, you can co-host an event together, something like that. So to get started, you can check out some of the resources that we'll go over later. In particular, the parentsforhealthykids.org website has some great ideas for those just getting started with school wellness. And we definitely recommend checking out the pop quiz for parents, How Healthy is Your School link on that page. And if you're a passionate school wellness champion and you have the time and resources, you can take the health, wellness, and safety liaison position even further. You can lead school-wide wellness initiatives and apply for school wellness funding, like one of our wellness kit projects, which you'll hear more about shortly. You can bring school and community stakeholders together to form a wellness team and develop an action plan. And if it makes sense for your school, consider making it a subcommittee of your PTA, as long as you have team members from different areas of the school. You can work with others to incorporate health, wellness, and safety into school policies and guidelines and improvement goals. And if you want to serve at the district level, find out how to get involved with your district wellness committee or advisory council if they have one. So to get started, consider putting a team together to complete SmartSource. This is a Colorado tool that allows you to assess your school wellness practices and the environment. Through SmartSource, schools can reflect on their existing efforts and determine where they align with best practices. You can identify strengths and gaps as compared to other schools across the state. And you can meet federal requirements for assessing implementation of your district local wellness policy. So now I'd like to shift gears and introduce Palace Quist. She is a parent of 4 children. She is currently a parent at Samuels Elementary in Denver. She's been a PTA member since 2008, and she's currently the Health, Wellness, and Safety Liaison at Samuels. Palace is also the volunteer community and school garden leader. She's a member of the school's wellness team, and she's a member of the school collaborative school committee. Palace clearly fits into that last category that I just talked about. She's passionate about school wellness, and she has the time and interest to dive deeper. And so she's going to tell us about Samuel's efforts in the Wellness Kit program that's offered by Action for Healthy Kids and Colorado PTA. Welcome, Palace.
Thank you, Erin, and thank you. This is an honor to be with you. So yes, I'm just going to tell a little bit about my personal story. I have been a parent at Samuels Elementary for exactly 10 years. And while I am employed full-time, I've always tried to make time to dedicate to my kids and their school. And probably most of our wellness initiatives have stemmed out of our wonderful school-based community garden. Several of us parents got together in 2011 and started dreaming about a garden, and eventually through 2012, we were able to build it out and begin to kind of integrate having a garden at the school. There are lots of easy ways to build gardens all over the city. Some of our better partners are Denver Urban Gardens and an organization called Big Green. Both of those organizations are great at working with schools, providing support for teachers and for families, and for getting gardens started. Probably the thing that I'm most proud of is just working with the kids and helping them to feel a sense of ownership and a sense of pride about their own garden, getting them outdoors and letting them really take charge of watering and planting and harvesting and taking care of their garden has been just very powerful, and they have a very strong sense of ownership and belonging when they go outdoors. Samuels is an interesting school It's comprised of people from all over the world. And we currently have a population of about 50% Hispanic people, 18% African American, 15% Caucasian, and 17% other, which is largely refugees from the Middle East and from Africa. The way we work our Garden to Cafeteria program, which we began in 2013, is that we bring teachers with their class out once per week. So actually, let me just explain a little more. We harvest once a week on a Tuesday morning, and teachers sign up for a week, which they can come out and harvest with their students in the fall. So we get a group of about 30 kids, and they get to have one chance usually per year to get out there and pick all the veggies that are ripe. And it's probably one of the biggest joys for them. They're so excited to come out each fall and especially, look for all of the garden surprises and treasures that they can find everywhere. They know that Denver Public Schools does not purchase cherry tomatoes, so that every time they find a cherry tomato on their salad bar, that comes from their garden. We are able to bring in a significant amount of produce into our cafeteria each fall, and we average about 400 pounds of fresh organic produce. We do have quite a large garden, and when we started, we had about 7 plots or garden beds that were dedicated exclusively to the students in the school, and we've expanded that number over the years to now we have 15 of our 55 total plots that are dedicated to the school. In addition to the Garden to Cafeteria program, we have an after-school garden club at Samuels. And I would say this is probably my favorite thing on the planet. It's such a special collaboration between teachers and volunteer parents. And we come together as adults. There are about 20 of us dedicated to this on a weekly basis now for 1 hour right after school. And currently we are serving anywhere from 120 to 125 students each week during the spring and the fall for Garden Club. It's a free club. Part of what we offer as in the club is they always start off with a fresh fruit or vegetable snack. And I would say it wasn't necessarily intentional. It was just what we wanted to do. But we've ended up really teaching students that they can enjoy lots of different kinds of fruits and vegetables when they're presented with them, and they are daring enough to try some of those things that maybe they've never seen before. Our fruit and vegetables come from a variety of sources. Our school provides a daily fruit snack, and so whatever's left over, classroom teachers send those out on Tuesday afternoons to the club. And then we've also applied for some small grants to cover the cost of their snacks, and some parents have made contributions as well. In order to fund our after-school garden club, we've also done a variety of fundraisers, but there are 2 that are that we can count on doing each year. The first is an Earth Day fundraiser, and that's really a chance. It's become a real important tradition at Samuels now, but every day, every time on Earth Day, every one of our 500 plus students gets to come out to the garden and do something that's related usually to literature and planting. And we always make sure to provide some sort of something for them to sample that provides a gustatory memory for them, because we just feel like being out in the garden, it's important to taste things and to discover new flavors. So we have an Earth Day fundraiser where they get to come outdoors, and really that's just a spare change drive. So the kiddos just bring whatever they can and contribute to that. And then in October, we have a really fun family activity, which is outdoors, and it's an October garden grill / farm stand. And so we pull out the barbecue grills and we make things like quesadillas and hamburgers, and we sell those to our families for very low cost. And then the students that are involved in Garden Club get to host their very own farmers market or farm stand. And so that's one of our huge fundraisers that goes directly back into our Garden Club. In addition, our garden provides lots of spare produce during the summer. So ever since 2013, we have an organized summer food donation program, which provides another 400 pounds of fresh organic produce to the local food pantry, which serves mostly the elderly in our neighborhood. The organization is called Jewish Family Service, and they are a great partner for Samuels. We have one of their counselors that works with our students at school, and in addition, they provide rent assistance and other emergency assistance for our families in need. So it's a wonderful back and forth partnership. So I became a member of the Action for Healthy Kids Parent Advisory Board just last year in 2017. Since then, we've become pretty active and involved with this organization. One of my garden buddies at school is another parent named Sherry Thompson, and she was nominated to receive a Healthy School Hero Award. And in addition, we've been so honored to receive a wellness kit that will help to support more food preparation and cooking in our garden. Over the years, we have already prepared many foods such as fresh salsa and pestos and salads. And we've also made some preserved foods like pickles and jams. But this is going to really allow us to expand our cooking curriculum outdoors. And we are so excited, especially for the opportunity to have an induction burner and cook foods. So last fall, I ran a pilot and experimented a little bit with Cooking Club after school when Garden Club wasn't in session. And kids made things like spice jars with their own thyme and oregano that we dried from the garden, as well as bags of dried mint, tea bags to make tea for their families, and preserved lemons, which we used along with their thyme to make a really delicious lemon chicken soup. And coming up this spring, we are excited to have our very first Every Kid Healthy event. And since we have a long-standing tradition of having our Earth Day be so strong and powerful and reach every child at Samuels, we decided to combine those two events. And when the kiddos go out to the garden this Earth Day, they are going to have the theme of Taste the Rainbow. And we have some very excited student ambassadors in 4th and 5th grade that are already planning all of the things that they want to do for that event, including what colors they want to represent in the rainbow, what they want to wear to be part of that. We plan to have stations where each station is a color of the rainbow, and they'll get to sample foods from those different colors of food groups, and I'm sure that they are absolutely going to love it. Let's see. Well, kids, I'm sure you can imagine, absolutely love all of the activities that we do out in the garden, and they're always asking, you know, when is Garden Club going to start again? And I would definitely say that some of these kids that have been involved since 2013 have a really strong foundation in everything that is related to organic garden practices, appreciation for lots of new foods, and certainly they feel empowered that they can make tasty and delicious recipes for themselves and for their families. It's always a nice moment at the end of Garden Club when parents come to pick their kids up, and we invite them into the garden to, you know, appreciate and enjoy the things that their children have been working on and try to make them a part of all of that. So those are a lot of the things that we've been doing at Samuels. I'm pleased to say that now that I have this idea in my head about having a wellness team at Samuels. I've been doing some of my own research, as Carol had recommended, and I have found that our internal school efforts have been quite strong in terms of wellness and health, and we're in a pretty good position at Samuels. Part of what's leading this is our district in Denver Public Schools is emphasizing whole child and healthy child initiatives, and our principal has really taken that on wholeheartedly. He's created a wellness center at school and a couple of different kinds of wellness teams, and those include school psychologist, school nurse, our Jewish Family Service counselor, our special education teachers, our PE teacher, our wellness coordinator, and other teachers. And their plan is to embrace a new curriculum that will be part of our ongoing education, everyday learning at Samuels beginning next year. So I'm very excited to learn more about that. And I've also joined their wellness team along with another parent. And so we're moving forward in that way. I'm happy to answer any questions, and thanks for having me.
Wow. That's also great, Palace. That's very, very exciting. I love how you, and then it sounds like the school too is integrating all these efforts together. You know, it sounds like you're not just working obviously in isolation as a garden club or some other effort. You're really bringing it all in and kind of bringing it together, and that has so much more power in terms of health and wellness. If really the kids are, receiving consistent messages from all the different school staff and parents, parent organization. So it sounds like there are so many exciting things going on, and thank you so much for sharing. And we'll see if there are any questions towards the end. I'm going to go over some resources first, and then we will take questions. And for myself, Erin, Palace, and then Lori too, feel free to ask whatever you want to ask. Just go ahead and type them in to the chat box under the questions, and we'll get to them. All right, so resources. We've mentioned the Parents for Healthy Kids website a few times. Now, this is a brand new website. It just launched in September, and it's a collaboration between our national organizations, National Action for Healthy Kids and National PTA, with funding support from Aldi, which is a national grocery retailer. Unfortunately, they're not in Colorado, but they are funding the sponsor for this site. So this website really is an online hub for parents by parents. You can check it out for free tips and tools and inspirational stories about parents who've helped to transform their school culture. And there's a fair amount of good examples from Colorado parents on the site. Look up Hot Topics. That's the name of the section to learn more about best practices and focus areas for healthy schools related particularly to nutrition and physical activity. Use it to connect with other parents across the country. There's a ton of different parent forums that are around those hot topics. And also there are trainings and grant information posted, and can find out what might be available in our state. And we recommend you start with that pop quiz that Erin mentioned earlier to see how healthy your school is. It's a pretty simple quiz that'll give you some ideas on areas you might want to look in if you do have time to start some initiatives. Next, Game On. Now that is Action for Healthy Kids' free online school wellness framework. It uses Eat Better and Move More activities to help schools improve nutrition and increase physical activities before, during school, after school, at home, and at special events. Game On can be tailored to meet a school's specific needs and resources. It's designed as a 6-step multi-year program framework to serve K through 12 schools. And you can really dive in wherever it's appropriate and use it at your own pace and use whatever parts of it make the most sense. For example, if you just, you've got some wellness efforts going and you really are just looking for activities that you can do with your school health team or with your PTA, you can look in the Eat Better and Move More activities section Here's a partial list on the screen of the different types of things that you can find. Each activity has step-by-step instructions, templates, and links to additional resources. And Action for Healthy Kids has a brand new fundraising initiative as well that's healthy and educational for students. It's called the Super Fit School Challenge, and it's designed as a partnership between your school and Action for Healthy Kids that culminates in the Super Fit School Obstacle Course, which is a fun and engaging event that promotes healthy eating and physical activity. And again, we're going to send you these slides, so the contact information and the websites that are associated with each resource, you will have those in your inbox within 2 to 3 days. Next, as Lori mentioned, Health, Wellness, and Safety Committee, along with along with Action for Healthy Kids, we host together a number of workshops each year that cover topics like those you see on the slide. These are 2 that are upcoming for this year, for this spring. We have one in District 51 that we're doing in partnership with them, and we have another in Denver where we're going to have a special presentation from the Live Well School Food Initiative. If you'd like to learn about any trainings and keep abreast of that, definitely sign up to be on the Action for Healthy Kids email distribution list, as well as, and actually you will be on that list. You'll start to receive those if you haven't already just by registering for this webinar through our system. And then of course, you can also look for those from different PTA communications. If your region or council would like to host a training, contact me to learn what might be available for your area. And like many of our parent resources, our workshops can be designed in English with interpretation into Spanish, or just in Spanish only if you have that need. So we've mentioned the Wellness Kit program a couple times. For the past 2 years, Action for Healthy Kids and Colorado PTA have offered wellness equipment kits to PTAs through this program. In the past, this has been a grant program and only offered in selected districts to schools that meet certain eligibility requirements that are given to us by our funders. Next year, we really hope to be able to expand this and offer the kits to any school if they can find a sponsor or their own funding. We also may have some that are funded through our foundation partners as in the past. We'll know more about that towards the end of this school year, but definitely if you're interested in that, you can send your name to Erin and she will put you on the list to be updated. So Every Kid Healthy Week is another initiative that Action for Healthy Kids and Colorado PTA promote in partnership. This is a national annual celebration of schools' wellness achievement. The goal of this initiative is to create nationwide momentum around school wellness and to bring awareness to this issue. It takes place the last week of April each year. In 2017, more than 1,000 schools hosted Every Kid Healthy Week events across the country. And this is what it's designed to do. It's schools, if you already have an event that's taking place in April, or if you would want to create one, we have lots of ideas. The idea is that to have these events taking place all across the country, if you register your event on our site, we will put it on the Every Kid Healthy Week map, and this really does help to create momentum around the issue. In Colorado, Action for Healthy Kids, Colorado PTA, Live Well Colorado, and Western Dairy Association all partnered last year to promote this initiative. We also have the Colorado Department of Education, Office of School Nutrition just signed on to be a promoter of it as well this year. So again, if your schools are hosting events next April, why not make the focus be on healthy kids and families to show your school's commitment to this? If you want more information, check out our website. There's lots of ideas for events if you don't have one already. And feel free certainly to contact any of us to learn more or give you some more suggestions. This year, we are also offering some mini grants, $100 to $300 each to help support an event. And if you want to learn more about that, definitely contact us afterwards too. All right, so as Lori mentioned then earlier, the Colorado PTA Health, Wellness, and Safety Committee has dozens of great information sheets that you can download from their website. And here are just a few that you can find, and Lori already went over a few of these. There are many more, though. This is just a start to give you an idea. Also want to bring in National PTA. They have a Healthy Lifestyles Initiative. Some of the things that you can find there, are listed on the screen. Two that I really like in particular are their School Meal Leaders Guide, which has some good strategies for partnering with your school food service department around healthy school meal programs. Another one that we often share, shown there on the right side of the screen, and that is their Smart Snacks Implementation Guide for PTAs. Smart Snacks are the regulations, the federal regulations and requirements around what foods that you can serve and do fundraising on, things that are outside the school meal program. So it's really important as a PTA to understand what those guidelines are, and looking at this guide is a good start. So for issues that are related to school safety, positive school climates, and early intervention, check out the Colorado School Safety Resource Center, as I mentioned earlier. They provide free consultation, resources, training, and technical assistance to schools across the state. And they have many, many valuable resources linked on their state related to these particular topics. Also want to mention the Colorado Education Initiative. That it's a very useful place to find resources related to safe and welcoming schools, to healthy school policy and practices, and social emotional support. Currently, the Colorado Education Initiative is where SmartSource lives, and that is the school wellness inventory that Erin talked about. It's a more extensive inventory than the pop quiz that you would find on the Parents for Healthy Kids site. It's really going to give you an in-depth look at different areas of your school health culture. Now, there's some other things listed there that you can find on the Colorado Education Initiative. We have just recently learned they are going to be moving, possibly moving in different directions, and they may not be where you can find SmartSource in the future. However, really this year, if you want to check it out, go visit them, and if you're looking for it in the future and it's not on their site or they don't provide a link, definitely contact us, because we're going to know exactly where that great resource lives. And before we take questions, I just really want to give another shout out to the Colorado PTA Health, Wellness, and Safety Committee. You can find information about the committee's programs and resources at copta.org under Health, Wellness, and Safety Programs. If you're passionate about healthy schools and you'd like to contribute to this effort at the state level with PTA, we'd really like to talk to you about joining our committee. As Lori mentioned, we meet the third Tuesday most months at the Colorado PTA office, and we also have a call-in option. So don't hesitate to contact us. You can send an email to the address on the screen if you're interested in joining, and Lori will be back in touch with you. All right, so now I'm going to bring on Denise Marquez. She is she's our Action for Healthy Kids team member who is kind of running the back end here, and she's going to field any questions that may have come in during the webinar. And again, you can still type them in if you want to, if you've got something that you haven't put in yet. Take it away, Denise.
Thank you, Carol. Yes, we do have several questions that have come in, so I have just unmuted every one of our panelists, give everybody a chance to give your input. So the first question, I think, is probably for Palace and for Erin. It's regarding the cooking kit, Palace, that you received for your school. It says, I'm interested to learn more about the cooking kit. What is in the kit, and how can my school apply for one? So Palace, I think you can answer that first part of the question, and then we can give it to Erin.
Okay, excellent. Wow, it is it's a treasure kit. It's amazing. It has everything you will need, including measuring cups and spoons and lots of different kinds of stacking bowls, pots and pans, everything you can think of that you might need, all kinds of utensils, cute little baker's hats, hot holders, really just everything you could expect to find in your kitchen, except for the food.
Okay, great, Palace. And Erin, how can the school apply for one?
So at the moment, all of our wellness kits are spoken for the last couple of years of the grant cycle that we've been doing. So as Carol mentioned before, we are exploring what this wellness kit program could look like in the future, so that we can offer it to more schools than have been eligible before. And so we should know more about what that might look like by the end of this school year, I think. And so what you can do is send me an email. You see my email there on the screen, just ecobler@actionforhealthykids.org. And just let me know that you want to be on the list for notification when we have the details of the next wellness kit program.
Okay, great. The next question, it says, aren't schools already required to have a wellness committee? I'm not sure who wants to take that one.
I'll take that one. So no, schools are not required to have a wellness committee. In fact, districts aren't even required to have a wellness committee. Districts are required to have a wellness policy in place. And oftentimes, and actually it's not even specifically a district, usually that does fall on a district, but it could be another entity, whoever creates or provides the school meals program and is tied into the National School Meals Program, gets federal reimbursements for school lunch and that type of thing. Whatever entity runs that for your school. Usually it's the district, but it could be another entity if you're in a rural district. So the requirement there is to have a policy, and you have to, and the district has to get input from different stakeholders, including parents. Now, oftentimes, the district will put together a committee, might be called a district wellness committee, school health advisor, or district health advisory board or council, can go by a lot of different names. So often at the district level, you will have that entity that is there to create a wellness policy for the district. However, that's not even a requirement. They just have to figure out some means of getting input. So Action for Healthy Kids really would like to see a committee or a team in every school, because that's really what is going to help bring that wellness policy to life. But it is not a formal requirement. Definitely it's something you can advocate for as a PTA. And I think Erin might have mentioned this already. If you don't already have that team or school, forming one as a subcommittee of your PTA is a great idea. You just want to be sure to bring in different stakeholders, like your school nurse, if they're interested in PE teachers, classroom teachers, so you can get that voice across the school.
Okay, thanks, Carol. And there's actually a couple of other questions that relate to that. My school has a health team, but it's not something parents are invited to. So what should I do?
That's a great question, and we do hear that. That's why it's so exciting to hear Palace's story. Sounds like parents are really welcome in that effort, and really they do need to be. This is a very good opportunity for advocacy from your PTA. Without the parent voice on a school health committee or team, it's going to be really hard to develop initiatives that are sustainable. And really you want parents and families to be clued into what's going on so that they feel a part of it and then can help to reinforce those activities back at home. So those are just a couple of talking points for you on your PTA. I suggest that you approach your principal, whoever is leading that team, and your principal, to talk to them about the value it would bring to the effort if PTA and parents were involved. There are definitely best practices out there related to parent and family engagement. I know in Denver, as Palace mentioned, they have a strong focus on the whole child, and a part of their whole strategic plan is related around that, and certainly families are a part of that. So really, advocating for that, and even if it doesn't happen at the school level, it's possible you could get some support from your district around this. I'd kind of suggest you try those avenues, and if you're still really struggling and can't get any traction, contact us. We might be able to chat with you about some other ideas. But starting with advocacy and coming from the PTA versus one individual parent will be stronger and a little bit more powerful.
Great, and it looks like we may have time for one more quick question. And this could be possibly for Erin or Lori. If I sign up as a liaison, what are the benefits in terms of support from Colorado PTA?
Lori, I'll start, and then if you want to add anything, feel free. So if you sign up as the Health, Wellness, and Safety Liaison, you will be considered an officer if you're not already. And that means that you'll receive the monthly officers newsletter from Colorado PTA, and that newsletter has health, wellness, and safety related news each month. And so you'd be aware of any grant opportunities, any events related to health, wellness, and safety that might be coming up in the near future. So you're just going to be kind of on the front line of receiving that information in order to share it with your local unit. So you also have the ability to shoot an email to wellness@copta.org at any point, and we can provide you ideas and resources, grant ideas, just kind of being an on-hand resource for you at any given time. Lori, anything you want to add to that?
No, that summarizes it very nicely, Erin. I think the close communication with the Health, Wellness, and Safety Committee then is very helpful in trying to get the resources out and get other parents involved. And so the committee can be very helpful in terms of working closely with the designated liaison, which we also hope will work closely with, if there is a school wellness committee. Some districts really promote that every school have a wellness committee, and they can be amalgamated to work together, because we really feel that pooling our resources is going to be most effective. But Erin, I very much agree with how you summarized that benefit.
Okay, great. So I think we are out of time.
All right. Denise, thanks for managing those questions. I just want to add one more thought about the position, which I think Erin already said, but it's really important that even if you don't feel like your unit has, capacity or the time, the resource, the interest to really take on this position in a strong way, even just the designation of somebody and kind of understanding what's going on so you can be a connector doesn't have to take a lot of time, but it really will add value to what your PTA can do and add your voice. So we encourage you at any level to designate someone, even if you've just got 2 or 3 people on your board or as members, knowing what's going on in this area is a really good thing. So definitely want to thank very much Palace for sharing your great story today. And if we have any questions that come in, I hope, we can send them your way about your garden. It sounds like you're such a great ambassador for gardening in general and school wellness that we'd love to, we can connect you with anyone else who may have questions that we can't answer. We may try to do that if you give us permission. And also want to thank, great, thanks, Palace. And thank Lori and Erin and Denise for your participation today as well. Again, we'll send out a follow-up email in 2 to 3 days with a link to the recording and the handouts and our contact information. Don't hesitate to get in touch if you have more questions. We'd like to thank all of you, all of our listeners today, for the things that you're doing every day to ensure that kids at your school and in our larger community are healthy, active, and ready to learn. I wish you luck in your new position. Thanks so much for your time. And one thing I didn't say before, definitely check out, Colorado PTA and Action for Healthy Kids both have Facebook accounts. PTA also has Twitter, and National Action for Healthy Kids has some social media accounts as well. So we'll send those out with the email, and they're great places to learn more about what other schools are doing as well. So thanks very much. Thanks for your time, and have a great day.